What do you have to say about the apology? Do you accept it? And what do you have to say about the situation as a whole?
I can only say it's a bit confusing still in the context of trying to get all the pieces together. And I think it's important to just kind of understand the backdrop. I had to attend a magistrate's court on Friday, last week Friday, for a ruling in respect of a particular case. And so the ruling had been moved in terms of the time that was set for it. And so when I attended court, I noticed that there were firearms officers present at the court and just a security detail. And so when I went through the court, I ended up going up to the second floor where the courts are situated. And when I was there, I was greeted by one officer as well as about 4 or 5 other firearms officers who were in the immediate vicinity. And I was questioned as to where I was going and why. And I was then notified that I would have to be searched, which was, at first I actually thought was a joke. I thought it was some banter. And so ultimately it became apparent that it wasn't, and that they actually, the authorities had the intention of searching me. So I was taken into a room to the side of one of the courts, and I had inquired, well, why would you want to search me? Under what kind of grounds? Would it be under suspicion of firearms or misuse of drugs, or, there must be some kind of probable grounds. And basically the reply that was given to me was that there was some allegations and some serious, credible information that the police had received, that there was going to perhaps be an attempt on a client of mine's life. And so that was obviously very concerning and alarming in its own right. But as my mind was ticking, it's like, well, searching me means that, in the manner I was searched, in terms of not just like, oh, we're patting down everybody, or we have security at the front gate checking everyone. Notwithstanding that I'm officer of the court, being individually taken into another room was like, am I a suspect? And it was just confusing because obviously I represent the client, which the threat was allegedly made towards, and I'm fighting for the individual's liberty. And of course, many know that I'm about to have my firstborn child. And so my first thought is, okay, it's Marc Daniels, and then it's like, I'm also an officer of the court, and I'm about to have a family, and I represent this individual, and I'm a senator, and where's the probable suspicion that I am going to go into a courtroom that is filled with CCTV cameras and commit some sort of criminal offense? And so the officers that dealt with me were extremely professional and polite, and so I make no criticism of the manner in which they spoke to me. It was just the information that was given to me at the time was that they had acted on instructions from their superiors. And so I've had cause to speak with various levels since which, and I've heard differing accounts. And at this stage, I can't say any more than the fact that I've received differing accounts and don't know which account is more accurate than another. And so at this juncture, it was interesting to me because I left the court obviously concerned with any allegation or suspicion that might have been directed towards me, but also in terms of, how would my client interpret this, or how would other individuals interpret this, other clients interpret this, reputation's everything. And so, it was alarming, and I left the court, and when I left the court, I ended up coming back to my office, and it might have been about an hour later or so, in that vicinity, and one of my colleagues came up to me and said that the police were also at the opposition leader Mark Bean's store on Court Street, and had made some inquiries in relation to whether or not that business was contravening the Lotteries Act. And I remember hearing that and saying, but the business operates under the Betting Act, and it just seemed very odd that the opposition leader and opposition senator had both been accosted in a certain way by the police and had dealings with the police within a very short space of time. And so, at this stage here, I just would like to have clarity. I wasn't intending to go public with it. It was an issue that came out last week, and it's an issue that the business has addressed and our party has addressed, I believe, as of yesterday. And I was in the Court of Appeal yesterday, so when I left the Court of Appeal, I substantively was able to read the actual report. And so, of course, there's been a lot of questions, a lot of support, which has been wonderful to receive. A lot of people on the street. It seems every street corner I turn has been a lot of love. And so the police are basically saying it was a misunderstanding, but it's a very odd misunderstanding on two fronts. And all I can do is just try and, time will tell. I'm sure more information will come forward. I've heard various kind of statements made and accusations made and different things like that. And in this context right now where lawsuits seem to be filed at every whim whenever a politician is questioned or raised, I'm not trying to delve into any kind of political accusations or anything like that, but of course I will say that thoughts went straight through my head immediately as to whether or not there might have been any political interference. Without question, I would be ignorant to not at least assess and weigh up. And it's interesting because I haven't had any kind of contact from anyone from the other side or anything to say, wow, this has happened to you, or how are you, or this is a misunderstanding or anything like that. So, it's something that I just have to kind of weigh up, and time will tell, I guess. But ultimately speaking, it is concerning in this political climate that we would have these kind of misunderstandings happening. And certainly when I spoke with one of the officers involved in this situation, the officer did say to me that no doubt this would appear like a conspiracy, and that the PR and the optics of it didn't look good. And so one has to just weigh up whether or not it's merely a matter of optics or whether there might be some merit to it or not. I don't know. I've had a pretty busy schedule and balancing a lot right now, so I don't have all the pertinent details and information, but I'm just trying to see where things are, and hopefully things will be made clear in due course.
But just to clarify for my own
Sure.
reasons, you do accept their apology, or?
Oh, in terms of the apology that was given to me, I've received I want to say two apologies, but I've received one apology, really. And I accept the apology as given to me. That much I accept on the integrity of the individual that offered the apology to me. I have a great deal of respect for the individual. But notwithstanding the apology given and notwithstanding that I accept it, I'm still left with a lot of questions, and I think it's legitimate that I'm entitled to still have these question marks, because the more that I hear from different sources and as things arise, the more I start to question overall what's really going on. And as there seems to be some overlay or impact with another politician, that being my party leader, Marc Bean, and what he's going through, and then just having a little bit, obviously, of insight, because this has all come about from the same day. So we've been in communication with each other quite a bit since Friday, and we are well aware of each other's circumstances, and we're both well aware of the correspondence and communication that's been sent and received by both parties. And what seems to be in the press is contradictory to a lot of internal communications that have been sent and received with ourselves and other entities. So it leaves a lot of question marks. And like I said, time will tell. I'm sure that there is some heat being applied to a lot of different entities, and I think there's a lot of passing the buck going on right now, because the implications, if any of the conspiracies were true, the implications are quite dire. And I think if they are true, then we have really entered into a new form of politics. Some people have said this has always gone on, but for me, I guess I am naive, because this is a new political arena for me trying to get involved. We say we want the best and brightest, we want to have young people get into politics, but when you have these kind of episodes, I just need to think back to my very first negative or only negative publication in the press concerning some property I had bought years before I got into politics, and where the opposition leader had been the third minister to sit in a particular seat by the time an appeal went forward, and how that was used as like a political ploy, and immediately it was cronyism and corruption. And so for a lot of individuals who would ordinarily follow and get into politics, seeing signs like this is a serious deterrent to want to get forward and try and assist and serve your community. But more so than that, I've got a lot of fight in me, and I like to be involved in looking at these issues, and I don't have any fear, that's for sure, in relation to how I trod going forward in life. But I certainly think that we have reached a new low if there are any political implications and overtures involved in this, because ultimately there's a lot of words being thrown around like corruption right now, and I think that there's a lot of merit, and I think that there is, respectfully, I've heard and seen a lot in the last month or so, and I think that there is certainly enough cause for concern by certain individuals that they may or may not resort to certain tactics. So whether or not those tactics were applied in these two instances, time will certainly tell.
I think that sums it up, don't you?